Hi, this is B. Dean Berry. Today we will be installing the Midland Micro-Mobile MXT275 mobile GMRS radio. You're watching ChaserTech.
Approaching a strong storm.
Tornado warning.
Exercise caution.
The National Weather Service in Pittsburgh has issued a tornado warning at 47. A severe thunderstorm.
Like a snake in a field of dead grass, you slither away. Like a world that makes me squirm, you go and slither away. Tail between your legs, you slither
Alright, so the very first thing I noticed, the holes on the brackets, the slots, are not big enough for real screws. So if you're permanently installing this in a vehicle and you don't want to use the world's cutest little set of screws that come with this radio, you're going to have to take a stepper bit or a drill bit and drill a couple places out that are a little larger for the screws to go. Next, you're going to want to put a couple cables in place that you're going to be using. I actually am going to be using an extension cable for the remote control head. It's just a standard Cat 5 cable. So I'm going to lay that in the bracket first because it goes to the front of the unit. And I don't have to worry about the others yet because the back of the unit is going towards the back of the car. And you just slide it into its bracket. It's now in there. And go ahead and plug your Cat 5 cable in. Alright, so I had to remove the glove box and expose some panel space so you can see what I'm doing here. You basically want to run, if you're using an extension cable, you want to run your extension cable to where you want your handset to start. Now I'm going to have it on a swing arm located right here on this piece of trim panel. So you get your Cat 5 cable in place. You get a female straight through Cat 5 connector, a coupler, and you plug that in. Next you want to plug in your handheld control head to the other side of that coupler and hide the coupler. And then you put your trim panel back. On this car, a couple things involved. You just got to plug your trunk switch back in and pop her back in to where you had her before. If you have any cables like I do right here, make sure that they're properly in place before you snap her all back together. And now your handheld control head is installed. Alright, next you're going to want to hook up your power cable. Now in some cars this is easier than others. I already have a power block that I installed. It comes off of a relay that comes off the engine. It's a little bird's nesty. I can be in a hurry. Sorry. Now, put the cable under the carpet coming out under one of these floor mounts, and it's real simple. You just hook that together and click it into place. Now you can feed it and keep it all low-key, hide it, do whatever you're going to do with it. I'm putting it under the carpet here as well as under the foot pad so that it is completely out of the way and that it can't be damaged by anybody getting into or out of the car. Oops. Alright. It comes with a cigarette lighter plug on it. Per Midland's instructions, if you want to hardwire it, you cut the cigarette lighter plug off, black goes to negative, red goes to positive. We're going to do that. split that dual conductor. Get you a little bit of exposure on both wires. Twist them. The positive gets a spade terminal, the female slide connector or butt connector, which I've heard them called before, and the male ring terminal for the ground side. Alright, so we crumped on ground side ring terminal, positive side slide connector. Now it's all that's left is to hook them up. Now ground side is hooked up to a screw that I have parked right there for grounding up. But what about golding and electrolysis? Shut up. Alright. And you just take the positive side over to the fuse block and hitch it right on that spade lug. Hide the rest of the cable in the floor. And the last thing you do is I put a fuse into that terminal block so that it can get power, and then you put it back together. Okay, next comes an extension speaker. Because I'm sticking true to Midland install, and because there's a quirk, I got a new old stock off of eBay Midland 21-406 extension speaker for Midland 2A radios. Now, you see there's one there. There's a couple more you saw on the other side, including a Motorola extension speaker. You're saying, well, why don't you just use a Motorola extension speaker? It's better, right? Well, yes and no. Motorola speakers are great, but Motorola speakers are 8 ohm resistance. Midland speakers demand 4 ohms of resistance. So I'm going with the Midland so it'll sound right. You just got to scout out a place that seems good. In my case, that's going to be right behind the existing extension speaker under the driver's seat, and you install. And like I said, the only thing underneath of where this is being mounted is a plastic heating vent. I don't really care if I punch holes in it. There are no, there's no wires or anything underneath of this, so it's not something real big to worry about. Next, you take your speaker, you back the thumb screws out, set her down on the bracket, and tighten her down. And I ran the wire for the extension speaker back under the console, back to the passenger side, and plugged it into the jack on the back of the radio. But with the extension speaker is nothing compared to what we're doing now. It's time for the antenna, and real men drill holes. Alright, so now what you have is you have to figure out where on the roof you're going to drill. Ford made this super easy with these cars because every last one of them was intended to be a police car. If you look really carefully on the door jambs, there's going to be stamped circles, but there's going to be stamped arrows. The arrows point to support structures. Just avoid those support structures and count off by your holes. They're stamped the exact same way on the exact sides. So while we've made certain that we've cleared all support obstructions on the inside of the roof support, and we've measured the distance, this measured distance comes out to exactly about 35.5. Now, don't always trust your measurement. Cars aren't exact things, not usually. Sometimes there can be variations, sometimes there can be discrepancies. So it's best is to sit if you have something to center your view on, like your XM antenna or this scanner antenna, you pick out where it's going to be, set your tape measure blade style, right in front of it, go stand in front of your center emblem, get a center view on the car, and see if it looks right. On some of these cars, you really don't have to drop the headliner too much. But what you want to do is protect it. So grab you a Gatorade bottle and shove it under where you're going to be drilling, just so that you don't get carried away and accidentally get the headliner in your crosshairs. All right. Congratulations, you've drilled a hole in $35,000. The hole that we just drilled with that stepper bit is a 3/4 inch hole that goes with a 3/4 inch NMO, new Motorola option, top end body mount. Start by putting your coax in towards the direction you want it to go. For me, that is going to be the passenger side of the car. You keep feeding it in so you can grab it from the bottom. Take this opportunity to reach in, get your Gatorade bottle out. Now, you're going to want to gently place it in from the top. And it's got a little square peg on it that locks it into place. So you start over at the side, throw your brass nut on there. Tighten it down with your fingers. As you tighten it, you're going to want to pull up on it to make sure that it stays in the right place. There's a little tool you can do this with, but I usually just use pliers to hold the pins, and I tighten it by hand until it gets tight enough to give it the final spin with an adjustable wrench. Then you put on your antenna. That's a PCTEL spring-loaded quarter wave for UHF. There. Let's get that. They don't pay me. And then you terminate your antenna coax with a PL259 connector. PL259. Some antenna kits will have it on the line already. Some will make you put it on there yourself. I do it myself every now and then. And you plug it into the box. Now you got an antenna. So everything's said and done. Let's see how it goes. Oh boy, we're rolling now. It works. It's on. I hope you've enjoyed this install video, and I hope you learned something. I really do. That's all I want to do, is teach people how to do this stuff themselves so they don't have to ask me on my cell phone 2:30 in the morning when they're drunk. So, thank you for watching, and keep an eye out, because the next episode is going to be a comprehensive review of the Midland Micromobile MXT275 GMRS radio. Until next time, I'm Meeting Barry. You've been watching ChaserTech.